All right, let's run over to the running back position. This is the time of year it gets really tricky. You know, it's deep into the season. Players are starting to get a little bit tired. Maybe some rookies are surging. What do we do here? Feels like there's a lot of question marks at the position.
Yeah, with so many injuries and, you know, teams on a bye, I think you kind of have to roll with the folks who got you here. But Javonte Williams, he's been very good the last couple of weeks. You know, nearly 30 fantasy points last week without Melvin Gordon. Regardless of Gordon's status this week, I'm playing Williams against the Lions. I mean, their defense has given up the 4th most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs this season. And, you know, maybe the Broncos are finally going to Williams ahead of Gordon. Time will tell, but Williams, at worst, is a nice RB2. And then Chuba Hubbard's back on top the depth chart there in Carolina with Christian McCaffrey out for the rest of the season. I like the matchup against Atlanta. They've given up the 5th most fantasy points per game to running backs, and a total of 11 have scored over 14 points against them. Earlier this year, Hubbard scored 14.1 points against Atlanta's defense, so he is a nice RB2 flex. I also like Josh Jacobs, who could see a ton of volume this week, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs was fantastic for me last Sunday. You also like Sony Michel should Darrell Henderson miss another game, and that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, there's a running back on your sit list this week, Fabs, and I don't like it, but who you got? Go ahead.
And you know what, Jen? This is probably more about DFS because the guys that I have on the sit list, you almost have to play them. And the first guy is Zeke Elliott, and this one breaks my heart because I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. But in his last 4 games, he hasn't averaged more than 3.6 yards per rush. Like, his knee is barking. I wish they'd sit him for a week or two, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that, right? He's also scored fewer than 13 fantasy points in 4 of his last 6 games. Washington has allowed an average of fewer than 50 rushing yards per game to running backs in their last 4. So this is not a good spot for Zeke. I get it. You probably have to play him. Folks, I have to play him. But maybe in DFS, you fade Zeke Elliott. And then James Robinson, right? Much like Zeke, Robinson's banged up, okay? And he's probably going to end up being in a lot of fantasy lineups. I totally get it. But he lost touches to Carlos Hyde last week. The Titans have been tough on running backs lately as well, so you may want to temper your expectations for Robinson and not play him in DFS. Jamal Williams, Mike Davis, also on my sit-em list.